Good morning, Starshine. This is Smadar from Song of Stones, and I am here with the crystal from our Sunday Sparkle. And if you read our newsletter, you'll know a little bit about it, but in case you haven't, I'll give you a little brief little description about what this crystal is and how it came to begin singing to me. And so this is a lithium quartz crystal. And not too long ago, last week, you have to bear with me because there's a lot to unravel with this crystal and all the information that's been coming to me. So it started off with a well-being card. And from Abraham Hicks. And that card said something to the effect of relaxing into your well-being. And it's funny because that card is where you would have first seen this crystal, because that's when the crystal kind of started singing at the same time as the card showed up. And that recording I did for my Layering Light community. And for those of you who don't know, I have 3 communities. The Song of Stones is one, Symbia is another, and Layering Light is another. And there's a reason I'm telling you about this, is because sometimes what I share connects very strongly to all 3 communities, so I share it across the board. And that's what happened with the Relax into Wellbeing card and this lithium crystal singing. It was one of those moments where I shared what I was receiving with all 3 of my communities. And there's also going to be a purpose to me sharing that as well. There's a lot that is connected to what I want to tell you guys today. So this lithium crystal, in and of itself, is a crystal of peacefulness and relaxation. But there's an image that forms that rises up on the surface and on the side if you look at the right angle, and on the other side. It's not as clear in the photos as it is in person on the other side, but on this side you can see in this area, this top half of the crystal, what I see anyway is a Buddha. And when I look even closer towards the top quarter of the crystal, just up here, I see another Buddha, but I see it sitting sideways rather than facing me. So when we think of Buddha, we think of peacefulness and Zen and Nirvana. And that is very much related to relaxing into well-being. Especially if you get deeper into the philosophy, which we're not going to at the moment. And I don't know enough about the philosophy to get deeper into it. I know the bare minimum. And beingness and peacefulness is a big part of it. I know that much. So there's all these connections to relaxation. Also, I was guided to my essential oils, and there was this relax essence that was gifted to me by my supplier. It's a little blurry. There we go. And it's a lovely essence. And for those of you who are interested in that, you can contact me and I'll give you some information. So this morning I thought that this crystal was going to share with me a crystal blessing that I would put out in my Song of Stones private Facebook group. But something else started coming instead. And it came, normally I connect with the crystals, and normally I have a routine in the morning, and that routine was thrown right off balance for an important reason. But it was just, I was off my routine, and it's lovely to have a routine, and it's important, especially during the pandemic, when things are so chaotic and uncertain. It's important to have a routine, and it helps keep you grounded and balanced. But you also have to be a little flexible, because stuff happens, and if you get too rigid, you'll miss some really important moments, like this one that I experienced today, because I waited for the crystal to share a message that needed to come later rather than sooner. I mean, I could tell you that I know why it happens the way it does. I don't. And that's where trust comes in, because the mind can throw you in a completely different direction. Because there's too many elements that happen in life, that happen in the universe, that the mind just is not aware of and can't comprehend. So trust is really important. So what's this insight that I want to tell you? What is this crystal singing this morning about? So one of the connections to the Buddha and to relaxation is that we talked about how easy it is to get into a state of relaxation, and how I gave the example of how you can go and get a massage and feel blissfully relaxed afterwards and just be in heaven. And your body is just loving you so much for giving it a massage. And then no sooner do you leave your massage therapist's office and get into traffic, or get back home, or go to work, you're right back into that tense space, feeling all the aches and pains again that were gone just a minute ago. And except this time, sometimes it can even be worse. because you've just experienced such bliss, and then going back to being in pain just makes it worse. So the thing is, we don't always have access to a massage, and we're not always able to go for a relaxing, peaceful walk in the woods to calm our hearts. And we don't always have the resources or the means or the time or the opportunity to go on vacation. But there are things that we can do to help us relax. And in the newsletter, we talked about leaning on the crystals, because they're a beautiful, beautiful way, and a simple, easy way. You can always, anytime, pick up a crystal in your hand and start to feel yourself becoming more peaceful. That is for sure. But overall, on a grander scale, on a bigger level, life itself can become more relaxing, can become more peaceful, can become more harmonious. But it's not going to be because we get a massage, even if we get a massage every week. And it's not going to be because we start eating healthy or because we start exercising. Because those things, we see, this is where all my different communities start to come into play, because in one of my communities, we focus on spirituality and the mystical side of life, and in the other, it's more of the physical body and what we can do to help ourselves and to help empower ourselves to feel better. And the crystals are about a lot of things, but the crystals are about connecting to the earth. So we've got all these different elements. We've got the earth, the heavens, and the physical body, physicality. And they're all important. And we can benefit from doing things on every level. But we need to be able to expand our perspectives and see our lives in a more holistic way. And I know we hear holistic all the time. We hear about being holistic and looking at all aspects of our lives, and we hear it all the time. But yet, what we tend to do is still separate out our lives and focus sometimes on one thing more than the other. You can't have a spiritual, healthy existence if your physical body is in pain and suffering. And you can't feel emotionally happy if you're only focused on the physical aspect of your life. You need to, if you want, to really be in harmony and really feel peacefulness and relaxation, not just as a thing to acquire, not just as a state to get to, but as a lifestyle. So being peaceful is not something to get, but if being peaceful is something to be, then you need to bring in all the elements of your life into balance. And that doesn't necessarily mean equal. It doesn't mean you give an hour a day for each of the different elements of your life. It can't work that way. You got to be in the flow and balance is not always equality. It's being present and being aware and awake to all the parts of yourself. And giving yourself what you need, whatever it happens to be in whatever moment you happen to be in. So, sometimes it'll be a massage because that's what your body needs. And sometimes it'll be a vacation because that's, what your inner child needs. And sometimes it might be meditation, and it might be meditation once a month, and it might be meditation once a week, and it might be once a day or twice a day, depending on what it is that you need. Because there's all kinds of different ways for you to express and experience your spirituality. Meditation is great for sure, but there's so many different ways to experience it. So I guess what has been coming through this afternoon, actually, because we're into the afternoon now, and we just had a lovely downpour, unneeded downpour, because it's been very hot and dry. And I guess I'm going there because that's, that's where life went today. The earth rained. And the phone rings and it interrupts the recording. Is one way of looking at it. Or we could just see that there's lots of different things happening and we don't have to necessarily get thrown off balance by them. They're just, whatever life is doing at the moment. So how we get there, how we get to that balance, there's not one right or wrong way to do it. It's a journey. But the key is to make a conscious choice. And then life will lead you to what you need to do to get there. There's so much wisdom in this crystal. I mean, there's wisdom in a lot of places, but the crystals are my favorite place to sit and listen to the ancient wisdom and the love lovely, peaceful, earthy vibrations. So I was guided to the Mystic Angels Empowerment deck this morning because I was really just going to talk to you guys about this crystal. There's enough here, but I was guided to pull a card, and rather than let you wait while I shuffle and be waiting for me to pick the card, because it takes a while, and it did take a while for this card to jump out, because I tend to let the cards jump out, and this is the card that came. I just had it ready for you. I love this deck. Like, the images on this deck are so incredible, the colors, but it's really the energy. But look at this one, is so, you know, I wondered about this one when it first came out. I haven't read the message yet because I strongly feel that everything is connected, and when the cards come out, they, you know, they are connected to so many aspects of what's going on in our day and in our lives. So, but when I look at this, I see it's beautiful. But look how many different aspects and colors and energies and shapes and textures are in this card. I mean, you could look at, you could say it's busy. There is a lot going on, but look at the harmony that happens too. So let's see. So that in and of itself is so connected to what we were talking about, all the different parts of life coming together in harmony. So what does it say? Oh, joy. Joy is a state of grace. It is the art of being in love with your life and all aspects and experiences of your life. It is the understanding that your unique existence is like a splendid thread of silk that is continuously weaving itself into the magic carpet of life. The angel Nathaniel asks you to join him on the magic carpet and to fall in love with yourself and your life once again. The daily mantra is, I am fired up about life and joyful in my existence. So how perfect is that? I mean, we were talking about weaving together all the aspects of our life in harmony. And here comes this card that is filled with all these different elements that are so beautiful together. And that's life, right? All these different elements that can be so beautiful together. And I feel like this card gave us the key. It gave us an opening, a place to begin, and that's in joy and falling in love with life, with your life. So I would leave you with asking yourself, what do you love about your life, and what do you need to fall back in love with? Start with one thing, and this is something that I talk to across the board in all my communities, is start with one thing. One thing connects to another and another, and eventually you have shifted and expanded so much. And if you try and bring everything in and do everything all at once, you just get overwhelmed. and it takes you further from harmony rather than closer. So let us know, pop into the chat and let us know what it is that you love about your life and what it is that you want to fall back in love with about your life. And hold that in your heart today. And I guess life is calling me now, because it seems somebody really wants to get a hold of me. So I leave you with the call. The call that life has put out for you. Where is it calling you? Many blessings and lots of love.